Wow, I am honestly blown away. I mean, seriously, I did not think that they were going to deliver on some of the things that they gave us this year. Some of my wish list items got announced over the course of these deep dives, and I'm truly thankful for the development team and their hard work bringing these heavily requested community features to life. Now, as per usual, I'm not going to spend time breaking down the deep dives in its entirety, but going over what I believe are my biggest takeaways from it. And unlike the presentation and gameplay ones, there is more that I'm genuinely excited about with this one, as I'm more forgiving of gameplay flaws if the presentation and the Dynasty has some depth to it. Not saying that I don't care about gameplay at all, as you have to be able to enjoy playing the game, but gameplay isn't my end-all be-all. Because I thought 25 played relatively good, but obviously will welcome improvements to blocking and wide receiver and DB interactions. But this is already looking to be a lengthy video, so let's not waste any more time and just get into it. With these coaching carousel changes, I'm excited for the level of immersion it's going to present us with. Knowing the story of your coaches with the details of why and where they are going helps build out most of those storytelling elements that I've been looking for in these games. And I'm really digging the added abilities for the program builder head coach archetype. It gives you a fighting chance to retain your top talent in your coaching room and even bring on higher tier talent. Now, I'm not an online kind of guy, but I can see how this would be extremely useful to those of you that are. Now, what I would like to see as an evolution to this are some coaching abilities that play into your ability to steal top talent away from other schools. I also want to see them add a feature that allows us to put our name into a hat for a coaching opportunity if it were to come available. But I think it could look something kind of like this. At the beginning of each season, they have us to create a list of schools that we would be willing to take opportunities coaching at. Let's just say a list of 5. We give them a list of 5 schools at the beginning of each year that we would be interested in should an opportunity open up. As I think that's the biggest thing missing from the coaching carousel at this point. And I also think that would be the easiest way to implement that into the game. Now, I know that game development isn't easy, but when I say that, I mean in comparison to other things that I want out of it. And one of those other things being them adding position coaches as a starting point that we can take on when starting a dynasty. Now, what I don't want them to do with that is go all out and try to get real position coaches signed, just like they did with the head coaches and the coordinators. But as I think that's just going way overboard. But the added depth and challenge of starting your career at a lower level of coaching is a natural evolution to what these games are giving us currently. Dynamic deal breakers was something we all wanted to see as a natural step to building on the system that we already had in place. The fact that the players' in-game motivations changed just like how a real players would is definitely going to add more difficulty to managing your roster year to year. What I'm interested to see though is how aggressive is it naturally. I understand that we'll have sliders for a lot of stuff when it comes to the transfer portal, but I want to know how that will affect this. Will messing with the transfer portal sliders affect how rapidly players' deal breakers change? And I'm really loving how they tuned the playing time deal breaker to now understand the significance of the amount of snaps that other players are taking. Because a lot of times, I'll use an incoming freshman in a specific role or in certain packages, but not during the full game. I don't want the players that I have to just think that they're going to lose their starting jobs this year and end up transferring out just because they see a highly rated freshman coming in. And it's really cool knowing that all of the top players now are worried and are thinking about their playing time, which means you can't just recruit a guy and redshirt him just to save his eligibility. He's gonna want to play, and if you don't, he'll leave. I just love that added bit of realism right there. This game is looking great so far. So this was something that I used as a house rule for myself, where I would limit my ability of recruiting to only guys that were close to me by 1 or 2 states. Now the game will actually somewhat punish you for trying to recruit guys further away. Although how much of that punishment you can absorb depends on the prestige of your program. Now I still plan on limiting myself, but more so for that added bit of role play that I do when I play these games. And I also like the challenge, but it's nice to know that level of depth is added into this mode. And fam, these passive archetype abilities is what I've been craving in these games. more role-playing elements, please, like what we have right here. To help maximize your visits, the CEO archetype now includes the ability to double the number of players who can visit your campus in a single week, increasing the cap from 4 to 8 total visitors. And if on your staff you have a coordinator whose archetype is strategist, they can stack that even further. If you win during that week that you have those 8 visitors on campus, you will get way more coach XP. This is gonna make you plan out your visits even more now. If I set up a visit with 8 kids all on offense who I want to bring in and I win and show out that game, the recruiting bonuses and the XP boost is gonna go crazy. But a quick side thought on this while talking about visits. Can we get recruits building bonds with each other? Like, get bonuses for recruiting 2 guys that are, let's just say, high school teammates or even relatives, and they could potentially influence each other to sign somewhere. That happens in real life, and I think would be another wrinkle that we can add here. So there was a lot of stuff here that I wanted to touch on when they mentioned changes to recruit generation, including a wish list item that of mine that I've had since NCAA 12. So the fact that they recognize that the skill position guys are more likely to be influenced by NIL and stuff is a nice touch of reality that is also a safe way to implement NIL in the Dynasty mode, and not too unlike how I would have done it myself. So it sounds like brand exposure is going to be our tie-in to NIL and be another one of those arbitrary grades that recruits will judge our schools on. But the thing that grabbed my attention the most, guys, we got dynamic weight gain in the game this year. This was a huge surprise. This was that wish list item I was talking about. Something I had been asking for years. And quite frankly, something I never thought that we would actually get. Because really think about it. You see those freshman transformation photos for players all the time. They come in from high school at one weight and they graduate or get drafted at another. I hope they don't stop there though, and they actually implement them growing an inch or 2 from freshman to sophomore year. They already have made height a factor for quarterbacks. How awesome would it be if you signed a guy at 6'1" and he had a growth spurt and shot up to 6'3" or 6'4"? That could change the dynamic of your offense, especially if that's a quarterback or a receiver. Heck, that could even change their archetype. But what I'm interested to know is if changing their position will also change this too. Because they mentioned that their position determines how much weight they gain. Will moving a tall, slighter frame wide receiver to tight end net him the extra pounds to be effective at that position? Will a heavier, taller running back that is moved to wide receiver slim down to be able to improve on their route running and agility? And on defense, will we see safeties bulk up when moved to one of the linebacker spots? I can't wait to find this kind of stuff out. And also, your facilities grade will actually mean something this time around. So not only is it a recruiting tool for cosmetic purposes, it'll also affect how your off-season training goes for your team. And this has me pumped because some programs like Alabama and LSU are known for having world-class strength and conditioning, and you can see it show up on game days and on the field. Guys that come from these programs typically have NFL bodies years before even stepping into the league. And I'm really excited to see this feature play out for myself. Okay, EA, this is what truly made me a believer. A believer that your guys' vision for this game matched what the fans want. We appreciate the fact that Team Builder is now moving out of the beta phase so that it can be more stable. But the fact that we can now edit rosters on the website. I'm a big Team Builder guy. Do you guys realize how frustrating it was that we were limited to using the 8 default presets that they had for rosters, and the rest of it we had to do within Dynasty mode only? And to make matters worse, we had to input all of those name changes in with a controller instead of a keyboard or mouse. This is a complete game changer for me, as I spent countless hours making up these fictional rosters for these schools prior to the release of the game, only to find out that I couldn't do anything with it. Not only can we edit their names, but we can also edit their deal breakers as well. And on top of that, we can also edit their star rating from high school and previous redshirt designations. They really stepped it up this year, man. And I'm beyond thrilled for this. And I just can't say that enough. I can honestly say that this one improvement guaranteed my pre-order. I was already getting the game, regardless, but was potentially looking to try and walk in on launch day and grab a copy, or, within the week, no particular rush. But now, I needs to pre-order it. I still want to know, however, what they plan on doing about the limited default rosters that they had before. I believe the framework for that is solid and doesn't need to be changed, as it represents a good amount of types of teams. I would, of course, like to see them add more, but also implement a randomizer to it, so that it will take and generate a bunch of new player names and numbers and appearances, just to give more baseline for us to work around when creating these teams from scratch. But let's talk about stadiums for a minute. We gotta be honest. I would have liked to have seen more generic stadiums than just 3 added in one high school stadium. I appreciate the fact that we're getting them at all, but you have to sometimes plan for things in the most extreme scenarios. I don't remember if the limit in Dynasty was 12 teams that you could import, but I would have liked to have seen at least whatever that limit of teams was, have an equal number of generic stadiums ready to go. There was a list that was circulating last year of all the schools with minimum branding in their stadiums for use with team builder teams, so not to break the immersion too bad. So I will continue using the ones that I got from there, along with implementing the new ones. But please, in the future, add more generic ones. It can only be a benefit. And more generic high school stadiums at that. You're already giving us the ability to import team builder teams into Road to Glory for use in the high school portion of it. Give us more than just one high school stadium to look at during that process. Another addition that they gave us that we all wanted to see was the ability to set our own pipelines. It was mildly annoying that our pipelines were determined by what schools we replaced with our team builder teams, especially since I had schools from all over the place that I was replacing, and it didn't match up with the region in which my team builder conference was created. And lastly, to top off all the lore building elements, we now have the ability to create our own rivalries. Guys, this is it. They really put the ability to create the dynasty we want in our hands with this one. It is unfortunate that we don't have this ability with the regular teams in Dynasty mode, but I believe this is the framework to be able to get that to us at some point in the future. And that is it. Guys, wow, that was a lot. I don't know about y'all, but I'm impressed. Heck, beyond impressed. They showed us that they care more than just churning out another game with updated rosters and small feature adds. This is a labor of love. This dev team really loves this sport and cares about what we want to see in these games. Yes, obviously there are limits to what they can do in a yearly game cycle, and they have made it clear that there's way more that they want to put into these games, but they also have to abide by the guidelines that EA sets for them. But so far, they look like they are committed to giving us the best football games that we've seen in a very long time, college or pro. But I'm interested to know what your guys' thoughts are on what we learned. So please leave those thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoy this type of content, please leave a like on the video and smash that subscribe button so you don't have to miss out on more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, stay blessed. I'm out.